Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're unpacking the absolute seismic shifts of the alternate reality 2026 summer transfer window. And let me tell you, across Europe right now, top clubs are deploying drastically different strategies to build their squads, and the contrast is just fascinating to watch. We aren't just looking at who bought who today, we are really digging into the foundational philosophies driving these mega deals.
Here is our agenda for today. We're going to start with Madrid's Mourinho and Mbappe, look at how Arsenal defends the crown, dive into Chelsea's Xabi Alonso era, check out City's record $155 million midfielder, and then wrap things up with the looming chaos at PSG. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Madrid's Mourinho and Mbappe. The super clubs return.
So Jose Mourinho is back for Act 2. But this time, he's managing a much younger, highly technical squad that happens to feature Kylian Mbappe in his absolute prime. The immediate question hovering over Europe right now is, can anyone actually stop this team? Actually, let me rephrase that. They aren't just chasing trophies this year, they're chasing a statement. But Mourinho's walking into a totally different Real Madrid than his first stint. A team that's gotten really used to a more expansive, flowing style of play.
To make this work, they are building what you can only call a win-now supernova squad. They're taking these established global superstars, Mbappe, Bellingham, Vinicius, and mixing them with incredibly precise tactical additions. For example, grabbing Marc Cucurella adds that necessary wide aggression, while bringing in Ibrahima Konate gives them the sheer recovery speed they need to play a high line. Every single addition here is like a puzzle piece designed to solve a very specific tactical problem for Mourinho.
And this brings us right to the ultimate dilemma for Mourinho. He's got to manage a dressing room that is just overflowing with monumental egos. If he gets this right, those egos fuel dominant, utterly ruthless training standards, where their sheer competitive energy just crushes opponents. But there's a serious flip side. If these global icons who totally expect the freedom to roam and attack suddenly feel boxed in by Mourinho's rigid defensive structure, or if he falls back into his habit of public criticism, this whole supernova squad risks collapsing into a chaotic daily soap opera.
Moving on to Section 2, Arsenal defends the crown, building on success.
Okay, take a look at this number, 22. That represents the agonizing 22-year title drought Arsenal finally managed to snap to become Premier League champions. I mean, it's a massive, historic milestone. But as we all know in football, staying at the absolute top is almost always harder than getting there in the first place. They've got this colossal achievement, and now they have to protect it in a fiercely competitive league.
So rather than standing still or tearing the whole team apart, Arsenal's making really measured, highly strategic additions. They secured goalkeeper Illan Meslier, they made Piero Incapié's loan spell at the Emirates permanent, and they brought in forward Christos Tollis. And Tollis is already making his mark. He just scored on his debut in their very impressive 4-1 preseason friendly win over Girona. It's a strategy of quiet, surgical improvement. Now, don't confuse measured with just sitting back and doing nothing. Arteta has made it explicitly clear they expect more movements in the coming weeks because they absolutely refuse to sit still. To ramp up internal competition, this calculated strategy might still include some major blockbuster names. In fact, rumors are spreading like wildfire right now, linking them to Newcastle's Bruno Guimaraes and, get this, even Real Madrid's Vinicius Jr., who is reportedly pretty unhappy playing under Xabi Alonso.
All right, Section 3, Chelsea's ex-Xabi Alonso era, a sweeping overhaul.
Wow, just look at this sweeping list. 8 brand new signings. It perfectly captures the absolute frantic energy of Chelsea's window right now. A huge highlight here is the 22-year-old Argentina international Valentin Barco. He's arriving from sister club Strasbourg on a massive 7-year deal. You've also got Maxence Lacroix from Crystal Palace and Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa. Alonso is essentially trying to build a brand new squad chemistry overnight, completely from scratch.
So how do you manage all this incoming youth? Well, Chelsea has a very specific locker room strategy, pairing seasoned veterans with rising stars. For instance, they brought in veteran striker Danny Welbeck from Brighton. The big hope here is that this mentor-mentee dynamic, Mr. Reliable Welbeck guiding a young raw talent like João Pedro, will somehow build some much-needed harmony and structure in what is bound to be a pretty chaotic dressing room.
But as you might expect, that harmony
Yeah, it's already being severely tested. Club icon John Obi Mikel just publicly tore into Enzo Fernandez over rumors that the midfielder wants to jump ship to Real Madrid. Mikel heavily questioned Fernandez's leadership and commitment with a pretty blistering quote, literally telling him to put your hands up and fuck off. It really goes to show just how incredibly fragile the ecosystem of a sweeping squad overhaul can be even before a single official ball is kicked.
Let's move to Section 4. City's record 155M midfielder, the financial flex.
$155 million. Just let that jaw-dropping figure sink in for a second. That is the record-breaking amount Manchester City is dropping on a single player to acquire England midfielder Anderson. While Arsenal is out there making minor tweaks and Chelsea is doing a complete overhaul, City just zeroes in on one singular target.
Dropping that kind of cash on Anderson really proves that City's strategy is all about an overwhelming, targeted financial strike, rather than completely ripping up the squad to challenge Arsenal. They basically identified the exact singular piece of the puzzle they think will push them back to the absolute top of the Premier League, and they're willing to spend whatever it takes to secure it.
Which brings us to our final stop, Section 5, Looming Chaos at PSG, the cautionary tale. Let's head over to Paris and trace exactly how this builds into total chaos. Step 1. Sofonov took Lucas Chevalier's spot in goal, a massive setback that actually cost Chevalier's place in the French squad for the 2026 World Cup. Now, you'd think that's enough drama for one single position, right? Nope. PSG is still hoarding keepers. They just signed 18-year-old Alessandro Longoni for the future, and now they're aggressively chasing 23-year-old Japan international Zion Suzuki from Parma. This leaves a deeply unhappy and completely alienated Chevalier, creating an absolute battlefield for the starting spot.
And while all this is happening, manager Luis Enrique is trying to build a stable squad capable of repeating last year's successes. Yet the club keeps pushing for these advanced deals, going after guys like Mika Götze from Ajax and Ferran Torres from Barcelona, continually layering new, expensive signings onto the roster, while the goalkeeping situation violently implodes right there inside the dressing room. It just seems like an open invitation for total disruption. It's the classic cautionary tale of accumulating pure talent while completely ignoring the human element.
So after breaking all of these vastly different philosophies down today, it really leaves us with one final, fascinating question. Which path is actually the right one? Is it going to be Madrid's superstar collection, Arsenal's measured consistency, Chelsea's frantic youth overhaul, City's ultimate financial flex, or PSG's unpredictable chaos that claims European glory this year? Make sure you keep these blueprints in mind as the season kicks off, because as we've seen today, games aren't just won on the pitch, they are won right here in the transfer window.